My name is Judith Kaufman. I've been making jewelry since I was around 16 years old. Actually, I was a test case for a friend of my mom's who wanted to teach silversmithing in her basement. And after 6 weeks of basic training, I was hooked. My dad used to build his own ham radios, and he had a workbench in the basement, and sometimes when he was soldering, the little bits of liquid solder would splat onto the linoleum floor, and then I would pick them up when they got solid, and I would roll them around or feel them, and I really enjoyed the shapes. They were just very inspiring to me even back then. People in my family were really industrious, so making things felt very natural to me. And I learned all the basic techniques of silversmithing in that class when I was young. And I want to thank my mom and dad actually for trusting me with a tank of acetylene in the basement. I was only 16 and they actually trusted me, which is amazing. Well, 3 of my friends from 3 different high schools started selling my rings and my bracelets. And with the money I made, I started mainlining tools and materials, and I was hiding out in the basement just doing this new thing I had found. Pretty soon I was selling $2 and $5 rings at craft shows on the weekends, in churches and grange halls and county fairs and town greens all over Connecticut. During the week, I would work in the basement of a jewelry store. I was gluing pearls, soldering charms, sizing rings, also getting coffee for everybody else. I worked all the time, and I also learned how business works too. Eventually, I found a studio in an old dynamite factory in the woods with 27 other artists, and I stayed there 24/7 for 17 years. I started out working with silver, brass, and copper. I loved working with those because the colors were great together. And with all the people doing different things around me at the art center, I started playing with whatever I found around the place, like copper stripping, pottery shards, chair caning, some pieces of leather. And so gradually, the artists' leftovers started finding their way into my work. When I started using high karat gold, I loved it. It was so clean, it was malleable, it was beautiful to work with. I felt like I could seduce it to do anything and the outcome would be beautiful. Working in gold, it also made me compose my work much more carefully. Missteps were so expensive. And by the way, when you're self-employed, every dollar counts. It was kind of scary. But it did help me in my creative expression because I had to really watch what I was doing. I'll tell you, there is nothing like the cost of gold to focus your artistic expression. When I was pregnant with my second son, I found a little studio hidden away about 5 minutes from my home. And I've been here for 20 years. I see beauty in chaos. I like to isolate details. I find inspiration just about anywhere. I'll find it in the little cracks in the pavement with the little pebbles stuck in there, pine needles resting on the water. When you pour cream into coffee and the swirls are beautiful. But inspiration for me, it's not a straight line. It's not like I see something and go back to my bench and make it. It's more like a well. It keeps getting filled up, and at some point, it seeps into my work. I don't plan anything. No preconceptions. I just wait for something to wink at me. Maybe a combination of elements will catch my eye, and I take it as a sign and I take it as far as I can take it, see where it goes. Little kibbles and bits accumulate on my desk, and the more I shove them around, the closer I get to coalescing an idea. Well, it's random. It's really loose. It's a lot of trial and error, pushing things around, waiting, but it works for me. I know there's a common thread that runs through my work, but I can hardly see it. I was in a jewelry store on vacation once, and the owner said, "I know who made your earrings." I said, "Who?" She said, "Judith Kaufman. Do you know her?" I don't have a degree. I don't have many tools. I'm very low tech. I don't make drawings. I don't make models. It just happens in the moment. I aim for balance, order, and chaos, all at the same time. I love to elevate the mundane and find its beauty. I pay attention to things that grab my eye. I try to be mindful and be aware of everything around me. Architecture, nature, furniture, fashion, not just jewelry. You have to show up for yourself and believe what you're doing can be good. Where does anything come from? Anything creative? It's all a mystery. It comes down to how you work with your materials and how you invent something that didn't exist before you started. When something really works, it's obvious. When I finish a piece, it's about 4 minutes of elation. And then I think, what am I going to make next?